So let's just assume for a moment that these things did cause harm, and they do cause cancer, and that they are more harmful to children. Let's just say it was a 1% possibility. Why on earth would you build one right next to a preschool? Those are little paintings in the window that children draw. And there's a 5G small cell tower within feet from their window. I would just think that, just to err on the side of caution, you wouldn't build one right next to a school. Why wouldn't you just start them all next to parking lots or parking garages where people don't spend that much time? But no, we've put them right next to a school. There's one next to the elementary school near Millennia. There's one next to Boone High School. Just on the side of caution, why wouldn't we test out this brand new experiment of untested, unprecedented amounts of radiation from millimeter wave technology? Military microwave weaponry is what these can be used for, not just a cell tower. So why would we choose to start them next to a preschool? Maybe we can ask the mayor of Orlando, since he sits in this building right here, why the rollout of 5G is so important that we don't care if it's going to harm anyone, and we're going to ignore all the cries for help that could potentially be harming children, and we're just going to throw them up right next to preschools. So here at 55 West, one of our high rises in downtown Orlando, happens to have a little 5G tower right there. It's been really hard for me to get to the top of one of these things. So this is the first one that I've been able to. And unless something else is making this spike, I'm thinking that RF that's just steady is most likely this 5G tower. So yeah, if you're sitting out here, you're just getting a constant dosage from this tower. Most people don't even know what they are. I think they're a lamppost or a camera. So let's see if it goes back down as we walk away. So yeah, it looks like the further, as we come back around the corner from it, we're back down to almost nothing. So just one more time, we hover around 2 or 3, and as we come around this corner, let's see what happens. Immediately jumps to 100, 200, 270. Come back around the side of this building, back down. And just to be triple sure, I touch it to things to see if it's running through anything like the building. Maybe there's some type of wiring or system that is connected to this building that's causing it to go off, but it doesn't appear so. But if we come around this corner, immediate. So in total, there's probably close to 50 5G small cell towers in downtown Orlando now, if you include South Downtown. They were supposed to be every 500 feet, and that's probably still the plan, but clearly that doesn't happen immediately. It's a slow build out, and they're just periodically being built. Here's another one right next to a playground. This one's at Lake Eola Park. This is one of the newest additions to Lake Eola. There is 5 or 6 that surround the lake now. These two towers are right next to each other. Not really too sure why. Maybe one of them is going to be coming down. Maybe they're testing out 2 different versions to see how well they work. Maybe the end goal is to have them all this close together. I'm not sure, but you definitely don't want to be hanging out right in between these two towers. Not for very long, at least. Well, nothing says Orlando health like having a new 5G cell tower right outside your hospital bed window. I mean, you're already sick. Why don't we just pump you full of more radiation while we're there? Nice building going up. Unfortunately, someone's gonna get the short end of the stick and be right next to that. That's gotta be 10 feet, no more. That's about how close I was just a minute ago on that balcony at 55 West. Now I'm probably about 20 to 30 feet from it. Still a pretty constant reading. Another important thing to remember with this particular meter that I'm using is that it's not specifically meant for these new 5G towers. We don't even know what the technology really is inside of these things. So to think that we have something at the public's disposal to measure them already is sort of silly. So it's really tough to even say what exactly they're putting out and if my meter's even picking it up. Yes, it was picking up, plenty in the RF range, but this is millimeter wave technology, military grade stuff that we really don't know much about yet. So it's still up in the air whether I'm even accurately able to measure these towers. You've also got so many variables. There's other cell phones and other signals going by. There's power lines. It's tough to really measure it and know exactly what's going on. You almost need to have a cell tower constructed in the middle of a forest and then go out there and measure it so there's no other variables involved. With some of this stuff I can deduct that, okay, that's my phone or that's this, and I can also put my phone in the other room and come out here and do it. So I'm getting somewhat of a reading, but really at the bottom of these towers, you're not getting much of anything. Now, when I was just at the top of that tower, I was getting quite a bit. So it's clear that the closer you are to the top of it, this thing right there, the closer you are to the actual transmitter, that's the problem. So you don't want to be sleeping next to these in close proximity, especially for long periods of time. So in addition to the variables I mentioned, you also have, is it turned on? How high is it turned on? Can they turn it up higher than normal at times? How many service providers are using that tower currently? Maybe it's been put up and it's not even working right now. So there's so many things to wonder about. Are the RF frequencies that I'm picking up, is that coming from a transmitter in the street light or the red light camera? So it's really tough to say for certain what's going on in the downtown area. The only one that looked very obvious to me was when I could get really close to the transmitter. It seemed to really spike, and I couldn't really pick up on anything else, especially when I walked around that corner. So everything else is kind of up for grabs out here. So I was just riding my bike down this path and I couldn't figure out why the EMF spiked so high all of a sudden. But this was the culprit, these big power boxes. So even in the park, surrounded by trees, I'm still picking up a little bit of EMF and EF. Could be the little bit that's seeping through my phone, even though it's on airplane mode with Bluetooth off, but still, that could be the little bit that it's picking up, or it just could be something seeping over into this area. But as you can see, out in nature, it's your safest place to be. Now, ironically enough, there happens to be a smart meter over at the end of the park, which, what a great place for a smart meter, right? Not really, but it's there, so I kind of want to just demonstrate how we're practically at nothing. But once we get up near the smart meter and probably closer to these power lines and transformer, you'll see, you can already see the EF spiking as it picks up the power lines. And there it is right there. Notice it pulses out and then it goes back down. So smart meters are periodically shooting out signals. And that's where you see that spike from. And if we get even closer, and this next one they put up right next to Dandelion Cafe. Rest in peace to our best organic restaurant in town. But the only good news to Dandelion closing is that, well, I don't have to eat next to this thing anymore. And don't get me wrong, you're not gonna get, nothing's gonna happen to you if you walk by one of these towers, obviously. You're not just gonna get sick or you're not gonna get cancer or something. It's the extended periods of time where you're constantly next to it, constantly giving you a dosage. Just like you don't wanna hold your cell phone up to your head all day long. It will make your face hot and it's not good. You're basically radiating yourself. So you don't wanna get radiated by a cell tower the same way you don't wanna get radiated by your cell phone. So you just try to be conscious of your use and cut back on, unnecessary wireless devices and reduce your exposure wherever you can. It's not about being perfect. It's just about doing what you can in your household and your everyday life to just be more aware of these things. And as you know, these are going up without people's consent. I just talked to a homeowner that lived next to one a few minutes ago and I asked her if she knew what it was, and she said, it's a camera system. And I said, no, it's actually a cell tower. And she had no idea. She's living right next to it. So without consent, without proper safety studies, there's plenty of studies on 4G, 3G, 2G, 1G that show that they do cause harm. It does cause cancer, abnormal brain function. Children and elderly people are very vulnerable to it. So the science is there on the previous technologies, and we're just throwing this stuff all around our city, building essentially a microwave around us and slowly cooking ourselves. So I am sacrificing myself today to give you the 5G tour of Orlando, but I try to avoid these things at all costs on a normal day. So what can you do other than reducing your exposure? Well, continue to spread the word. There's 5G protests periodically that happen. You can attend one of those. You can contact your city officials. Do keep in mind, if you don't know what's going on the local level with 5G, they've stripped local authority. So your local officials, your mayor, your city council members, they don't have any power to, well, they don't think they do, but they've been told that, federal and state law has trumped their power on the matter. So they can't tell you, no, you can't put that here. They can only talk about the aesthetics. What's it going to look like? What color is it going to be? They can't stop it for health reasons. So this is a very dangerous precedent. I actually spoke at the city council in Orlando, and some of them agreed with me that, yeah, there are some legitimate concerns here with health and privacy, but we can't do anything about it, is what they said. So we're really looking for the next step at how we can fight that, how we can get them to fight back, maybe with us. I don't know if we need to get a state representative or what, or just make a lot more noise, but at this point in time, it's really tough to get anything done on a local level the conventional way. There was a woman in Baldwin Park who got one removed. There's no real formula to this. So, what she did was just cause a stink. She contacted the HOA. She contacted local business owners in the area. She was also a local business owner, so that probably helped. But if you make enough noise, you may get it removed, because they claim that they just took it down to move it and it's never gone back up. And this is the only one in Baldwin Park, and it got taken down. So this was a major accomplishment, a good precedent set that shows that we can get them taken down. Not sure how or on what grounds every time, but it just all depends where you are, where it is, and what angle you're going to take. But it's just we can't just roll over and just let it happen. To be perfectly honest, we probably aren't going to stop this, but the more that we can inform people and sound the alarm, the more people that we can probably save, and we may be able to at least get this built out not as close to homes or not as close to buildings so it can protect people a little more.